Hey, what's up, guys and girls? So, I am putting together a Premiere Pro 2019 dot, I suspect the 9 version or whatever's coming out, the one that's just before the IBC releases. So, we're going to go over the XDCAM and AVCintra100 for the UK marketplace. So, it's kind of a bit of a series we're doing right now, but I want to go through each of the non-linears to kind of show where you can do the clipping of the videos, making sure it's legalized, how the freeze frames work in different applications, and blah, blah, blah. So Premiere Pro is the editor of the Adobe family. A couple of years back, they decoupled off Adobe Media Encoder, which is this guy, and this guy does all the transcoding. Now, how it works is that it exchanges presets between it, but if you're going to do an export out of Premiere in just one, you can do that through the interface, or you can offload and what they call queuing this into Adobe Media Encoder. So with the presets that I'm going to give to you right now, I'll show you what they are. So they've got the XDCAM ones, and there's a couple of really cool things. So in the effects one, I've added in the normalization of the audio. So this takes the loudness of the thing and brings it down to the right standard. The video is this particular one is XDCAM 422, but there's a couple of things you really need to keep an eye on here. Upper field for one, because it will revert back to progressive at this stage of the game. Square, which is great. Vanc and VBI, listen, if you've got OP47 or OP42 or something to that nature as an embedded, not CE8, but if you've got something to that nature that's in that file, you can then parse that through. Now, buyer beware, I have had hit and miss results on this. Each of the releases they do, it kind of comes, then it goes. So I'm only putting that in for either keeping this as a future proof. You do not need to do this because you can't export, oh, here we go. You can export OP47 for the Australian marketplace in an embedded file out of Premiere, but I will do a whole video about this on showing you the nuances of why that won't work. So anyway, it's okay to keep it on, it's not going to change anything. What you want to keep down here is the force GOPS. This will force it into a 312 GOP structure. If you don't put this on, it will come out as a variable GOP structure, and your delivery partner could probably fail that because it's not actually hitting into the PAL version of 3 to 12, and it's 3 to 15 for NTSC. Down the bottom, I've done an override of the time code of 095950. In the UK, you need a 7-second slate, 3 bits of black, and then the commercial. So that's kind of how I like to roll there. The audio, 24-bit, and 2 channels, which is XDCAM layout. So everything's exactly the same for the AVCintra, apart from the different codec that you're using. So the codec you're using now is the AVCintra100. It has no forced GOPS in this because this is an iframe format. It's not a long GOP format. And in the audio, I haven't kept it as separate fields. I've actually kept it as one track for stereo, which majority of the ones, and that is kind of pretty close to what the DPP wants as well. So it's kind of works out well. So once you've got these EPRs and you've thrown them into your Adobe Media Encoder, we're ready to go back to Premiere. So in Premiere, I've knocked up a beautiful slate. The time coding, as you see here, is 0950. If you need to change this, come up into this little flyout and do start time. So start time you can actually do here, and then you can keep it on the run. Seeing I'm doing multiple regions, I'm not going to keep it as a default. Some regions start in all zeros and don't have a slate, so that's why I've done that. So here we go. This is our clock. The timing's on this. Adobe, I love you. It comes out at 59:56:24. First active is at 10 hours. Okay, so I've thrown open the Lumetri scopes over here. The Lumetri scopes over here, and I've gone into a waveform vector, a waveform of this. I haven't put a vector up at this stage. I will come back to that. Something to be very aware of at Premiere, which drove me mad for many, many years, is this clamp signal here. So this is, to date, I have no idea why they do this. So to give you an example, I'll just turn the audio down on that. If I come through to here and park on this, so this looks all right, doesn't it? It's got nice bright headlights. It looks like it's a 0, it looks like it's 100. If I take my clamp off here, it's all kind of cool, but watch this. I can come through, and now I've got some residuals up here. If I put my clamp back on, the residuals go away. They haven't clamped it per se. This is only viewing. This is not doing anything to the file. So you could actually be doing this, export it, your delivery partner will go, hey, you've got residuals in here, and you're like, it's fine. So take the clamp off. Why they've got it, if someone can put in the comments, fill me in, please put me out of my misery. And to show you at the end here, we've got like a sub blacks coming down through here as well. If I put my clamp on, oh, problem's gone away. but it hasn't. This is the whole thing. Right, so how we build this out. As everything in the UK, it needs 6 frames. So what does this mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is your active. Does that make sense? So you have 6 mute, but 7's the active. That's not active here. If I do this, and I go bloop, and I go, nah, that's fine. It needs to be that one more to give you some leg room there. Okay. So at the end of this, it's got nothing. No, I may as well do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and do that through there. Okay. Now Premiere Pro. If I want to put a freeze on here, Premiere Pro, what do you need to do? Okay. So shoot into your sequence, jump out to the last frame, go back 1. Take a little snapshot of this bad boy or girl, or them or they. Make sure you input it back into your thing, and a Targa, TIFF, JPEG, whatever floats your boat. I kind of stick with Targa because it seems to be good. So I can put an end tag on here, whatever you wish as a reference. If you want to do your path into certain things where you're going to consolidate your applications or your graphics or your renders and that sort of stuff, then point it into this direction. Seeing I'm doing a tutorial, I'm just going to throw this away later. So click OK. You can do one or two things here. Jump to the end, because if you put it here, you're going to go over that last active, put it to the end, grab him, and insert him there. So, in my preferences, I normally set up my speed and duration of stills to come in as 10 seconds, and that's where I'll fix that. Failing of doing that, and if it came in as a frame or a second, then you can change duration there. Cool. So you've got yourself a funky little setup. It's all working great. Ready to export. No, we're not ready to export because we've got all these jaggies up through here and we've got this sub-black action and all sorts of wacky stuff. So the great tip I like to do is that I throw an adjustment layer on top of everything. So this could be a multiple edit. There could be hundreds of cuts in here. There could be graphics in here. There could be everything in here. I've taken a lazy route and just grabbed one from the interweb and then brought it down. So I get an adjustment layer, put it over everything, including the slates, the black, all the way to the end, okay? So snap it to the end there. Make sure when you go to the end, it is even. If it's a frame over, your file will be a frame over. So it's kind of a little tip there. Righto, so has that fixed it? No, it hasn't fixed it still. My goodness. Oh, let's just put the clamp thing on. No, don't do that. So go into your effects. If you don't have your effects, it's up in the window up here, window effects. There it is. And go down to video limiter. Now, there's a couple of very interesting things to watch out for here. So in the export feature of Adobe Media Encoder, it has limiter in there. I would stay away from that because it actually manipulates the colors and it does something to it. What this would do is actually bring into accordance to a IRE. So the EBU specifications or SMPTE specifications of 100% or EBU 103. I'll explain these in a second. This is what this will do here. So this is your safest bet. So I've thrown it on there and you've gone, oh, nothing's happened. Still got some jaggies. Now, this is an interesting point. So in here, in my effects, I've got 103 IRE. So you got SMPTE range, which is 100. You've got 105 and 109. This is madness. I've never used this. I don't know why people would want to go for this. Again, leave comments in below. 105 and it's got the EBU 103. This is giving some transients. So this is where it gets a little bit kind of interesting. These transients would be okay under the R103, either 2007 or 2017 specifications. It basically says you can have some transients sitting there over a course of a certain time. Now that is a little bit grey. I personally like to make sure it is clamped at 100 and at 0. Then I know for a fact it's within the right spec. So, loads of broadcasters are still accepting 100%. Some of them are going up to 105, which takes up to 721 millivolts and goes below 5% as well. So I personally would come up and do my 100%. If I go back to my scopes, that's grabbed it there, and if I shoot out to the end, it's clamped it on the black as well. If I go back through and change it back down to 103, you will see that there'll be some subs sitting there, which is all okay in the world, but I prefer personally to make sure it all works out perfect and do it at 100%. So back here, come through, that's nice, you know, all this is all beautiful and under subs or over 100%. So that's my tip of getting out that for the limitator. Don't do it in the Adobe Media Encoder because then there's percentages. It's not a pull down to say 100. It's just a simple fix. Right, let's get this out. Let's export this bad boy and girl and them and there. So on my sequence, I can right click and I can export media. So this will do a pop-up. Seeing I'm only doing one here, this is going to be okay. If I was doing multiple, then I could queue it. I come up to my MXF 1PO1A, pull this down, go right to the top, and snap, phooey, there it is. It will then give me the option to overwrite this again, if need be. I'm totally fine with all that, so I'm going to guide this out. It's going to go to there, righto, so get ready to do that, and do this, and do that, and do that. So I'm going to export this. So that will do the initial pass of the loudness, and then it's going to start doing the export of the MXF, and this will be of an XDCAM and loudness corrected. So once that's finished, we'll do our process as always. We will go through, we'll put into media info, make sure it works and it's the right duration. We'll then open and switch, make sure it all works, it's on the right durations, or hitting it at 10 hours. And then that is basically it for the XDCAM. So while we're here, we'll spit out the AVCintra as well, just because we can, because we are groovy people. This window will go down, and then I'll fire back up the AVCintra100. So I'll just duplicate this. And I'll put this as AVCintra. Cool. So export this out. And where she blows. There it is. Okay, AVCintra. Still going to go out to desktop. Still going to desktop. How groovy is that? So while that's doing that, I'm going to hide it, and I will come through to here. This is the one, and throw it down into my media info. So where is she? There it is. What we're looking for is duration. What we're looking for is the GOP structure, and what we're looking for is overall readiness of this file. So here we go, 45 seconds. That's perfect because we've got a 10-second slate, 25-second spot, and it's 10-second freeze. There's my GOP structure of 3 and 12 for power. That's exactly what I wanted. And down through here, look for my time code. There's my time code. So that's pretty much overview of that. Should be ready to rock, okay? And up through here, it should be XDCAM 422. Perfect. While we're here, let's grab our AVCintra. I think it's just finished up. There's the AVCintra. And AVCintra is the same. It's 45 seconds, which is great. It is iframe, which is there. It's a 4:2 4.1 level, which is perfect. 10-bit instead of 8 bits, top field, and time code's there. Well, how about that, hey? How about that? So let's fire open this into switch. We'll have a quick look. Hide my loudness. There's my time code, and back we go, frame by frame. Where she stops, nobody knows. Happy days. So there's that, and shoot out to the end. This should be at 24. Perfect. So that's how you get your Premiere Pro. That's how you get your presets. That's how you do your limiter. That's how you get your loudness, and that's how you do your freeze and your build in Premiere Pro. As always, guys, I hope you have a great day.